Daryl Mitchell scored his 400 of this LV County Championship season, while Tom Fell made the first one of his career as Worcestershire set up the chance of a fourth win of the summer on the penultimate day of their match with Leicestershire at Grace Road. It could have been a different day altogether for Fell, who was dropped in the slips on 29 after starting his innings again on 24. Mitchell, once in, is a very tough man to get out, and he was soon at his latest 50 in what has been a sensational season for him, both as a batsman and as a captain. He'd used up 93 balls for this one, and it was reached with his 6th 4. He would have already been thinking about 100. Mitchell and Fell had started day 3 in the company of each other, setting off with their side on 76 for 1 in their second innings, leading by 35 runs, and they stayed together right through the morning session as they turned a potentially sticky situation into one where they were soon the dominant team in this contest. Mitchell was at his brilliant best again, while James Vince has now beaten him to become the first man to 1,000 championship runs this summer. Mitchell could yet reach that target, having batted fewer times. In the 22nd innings of his first-class career, Fell recorded his 4th half-century off his 115th delivery. He struck 7 fours in an innings which was just beginning to take this game away from the Leicestershire side, which again had done so well for a while, only to lose their way in a game. They are likely to be spending the last day trying to save this one. Next up was Mitchell getting to his 4th ton of this campaign. This shot not only took him to that milestone, but also brought him his 900th run of the championship summer in just 13 innings. 160 deliveries have been used for his 100, an excellent knock from a 30-year-old who is seemingly at the peak of his powers at the moment. At only 20 years of age, Fell has never tasted a ton in the first-class arena, but he got to lunch on 66 with a rare shot that wasn't off the middle of his bat. Mitchell was also still with him at the break on 120, made out of his side's 195 for 1, which now had them 154 runs to the good. Only 1 run had been added in the afternoon when Mitchell lost his leg stump to a ball which jagged back sharply from Nathan Buck. It was just the start of the afternoon that Leicestershire needed. But a second wicket partnership of 178 was followed by another one of 111 for the 3rd wicket. Alexei Kavesi has had a splendid match. It was his ton in the first innings which had enabled his side to make a competitive total, and second time out he simply picked up from where he'd left off on the first day of this match. He was off and running quickly with some well-timed shots. At the other end, Fell was keeping his head as he moved through the numbers, picking off the bad balls for his runs. He would have been checking the scoreboard as he closed in on becoming the 2nd Worcestershire player in the last week to score a maiden first-class century after Ben Cox got his against Hampshire. Fell must have been feeling nervous as he approached 3 figures, a place he wouldn't have got to had Leicestershire employed a first slip. Fell was in the 90s at the time of this. That moment of fortune aside, this was a special performance from one so young. He worked a ball from Dan Redfern to leg to earn his 13th 4 to bring up his 100 off 215 balls. His celebration was certainly not in Cox's mould last week, but he must have felt both relieved and thrilled to be raising his bat for such an achievement. With the pressure now off and with Kavesi batting so brightly at the other end, the score was ticking along nicely for Worcestershire, who would have known a little about the importance of a win here after their title rivals Hampshire were completing an astonishing 3-day victory against Essex. Worcestershire were very handily placed themselves when Kavesi whipped Redfern to Ned Eckersley, giving the bowler his first wicket for his new county. Kavesi departed for 57 at 307 for 3. Then, after tea, Fell nicked off to Buck, bringing an end to an exceptional innings of 124. He left with his side on 321 for 4 and now leading by 280 runs. That lead had moved into the 300s when Cox was also taken behind by Niall O'Brien, this time off Ben Rain after making 12. Worcestershire now looked to push on so they could declare before the close to have a dart with the ball at the end of the day. Ross Whiteley drove Buck back over his head for a 6. With some fun to be had now, it gave Tom Kohler-Cadmore a chance to show off his skills. He's not made the best start to his championship career this summer, but here he could relax a little and play some shots. he worked the short ball away especially well. This was a nice moment for the talented 19-year-old, a leg glance bringing him his maiden first-class half-century in his 10th innings. What's more, he'd wasted no time at all in getting there, using up only 52 balls, that being his 6th four. 2 balls later, with a total on 408, Whiteley pulled Buck to Ramnaresh Sarwan at mid-on after making 24. And then Charlie Shrek brought an end to Kola Cadmore's innings on 56, as the batsman threw the bat to be caught at deep extra by Eckersley. It was now all about hit out or get out for the visitors. Joe Leach pulled Shrek for a maximum, before he was bowled by Buck, who now had figures of 5 for 123, his 3rd fifer of the season, which has now brought him 34 wickets. Mitchell immediately declared on 444 for 8, leaving 8 overs for the Leicestershire openers to soak up. That Greg Smith and Angus Robson managed to do as they knocked off 20 of the 404 runs they've been set to win. That leaves another 384 to be found on the last day, while Worcestershire will be hopeful of bagging the 10 wickets they need to stay right in touch with leaders Hampshire at the top of the 2nd Division table.